The Hoka Arahi 8 and the Hoka Gaviota 5 make up two of the key stability shoes in Hoka's collection. However, they're designed to provide different types of stability for different types of people. I'm going to break down these differences so you'll know if it's worth buying them at the end of this video. When we look at the Gaviota 5 first, you can see that it's got a really thick cushioning underneath your foot. It's got a classic CMEVA cushioning that we see in most of Hoka's range, so it's really soft, really plushy underfoot. When you apply weight to it, you sink into it, so it's really comfort focused. It's got 36 mils of cushioning underneath your heel and 30 mils underneath your forefoot. And because it's got so much cushioning underneath your forefoot, it means that it's really stiff to bend, so it does a really good job of protecting your forefoot, absorbing vibration when you go to push off from the ground. Like most Hoka models, it's got a nice forefoot rocker to facilitate that push off phase of the gait cycle as well. In contrast to that, with the Hoka Arahi 8, it had a major makeover from the Hoka Arahi 7 and the 6, so it looks completely different and feels completely different underfoot. It also has the CMEVA cushioning that we see in the Gaviota 5. It's not as plush or as soft as what we see in the Gaviota 5, but you do sink into it and it is a really comfortable shoe. And in fact, historically it had less cushioning underfoot than the Gaviota, but this most recent model has upped its game and it's got a lot more padding underneath your foot. So we now have 39 mils in the rear foot, 38 in the forefoot, giving you an 8 mil drop. So Hoka are making a transition, moving the shoes up from 5 mil to 8 mil drop, and that places a little bit extra pressure on your forefoot when you're standing for long periods of time, so it's something to keep in mind if you have any sensitivity around that area. Whereas in the Gaviota 5 we have that classic 6 mil drop, so a little bit more even distribution of pressure across your foot. All that added extra cushioning underneath the forefoot makes it extra stiff as well, but there are some differences in the forefoot on top which we'll touch on in a minute. When we talk about stability, historically the Arahi shoes had a J-frame built into them to provide stability along the inside of the shoe. They've removed that in the Hoka Arahi 8 and they now have a H-frame, so that's denser foam that runs either side of the midsole and across the middle to provide stiffness and torsional stability throughout the shoe. So the H-frame tries to keep your foot centered in the shoe rather than focus on trying to control overpronation only. We see that also in the Hoka Arahi 8, but you don't feel it as much, or you don't feel maybe it's centered as much because the cushionings are just a little bit softer underfoot than what we see in the Arahi. And as we move up the shoe, the Gaviota 5 has the best toe box of all the Hoka shoes in our opinion, so it's really wide, loads of space for your toes to display in the normal version, and it comes in a wide version as well. Now they've increased the width of the Arahi 8 slightly compared to the 6 and the 7, and that's partly got to do with a brand new creel jacket engineered mesh on top that wraps around your foot nicely, but still a relatively snug fit overall, so those of you with a wider foot may struggle with the normal version of the Arahi 8 and may need to get the wide version. As we move further up the shoe, both of them have a nice padded tongue on top, and there's plenty of cushioning around the heel cup with a little more padding around the Gaviota 5 than we see on the Arahi 8. The Gaviota 5 has a nice pull-on tab with just ease of pulling on the shoe, and it's got an extremely stiff heel counter. It's a bit more flexible and soft on the Arahi 8, so those of you with sensitivity around the back of the heel, especially around that Haglins area, you may enjoy the Arahi 8 a little bit more in terms of less pressure directly on the back of your heel. In terms of their use cases, well, they're both excellent shoes for day-to-day walking as a lifestyle shoe. If you stand for long periods of time, you might enjoy the 6 mil drop in the Gaviota 5, and if you have a slightly wider foot, you may also enjoy that toe box in the Gaviota 5 as well. If you're looking for a slightly lighter shoe, well then you might enjoy the Hoka Arahi 8, as it comes in around 269 grams for a size 9 men's US, whereas the Gaviota 5 comes in around 310 grams in the same size. When it comes to performance, well, they're both relatively heavy stability shoes, so they can be used for easier, longer runs. Those of you who want to do up to marathon distance and want some form of stability, well then they're both great options, keeping in mind that the Arahi is a little bit lighter than we see in the Gaviota. Historically it was a bit more responsive and even lighter underfoot, however that's not the case with the more recent model, and they're now merging and becoming very similar unless we have some massive changes in the Gaviota 6. So overall we've got two excellent stability shoes. They're both moderate stability shoes, probably a bit more stability focused in the Gaviota 5 just because it's a little bit broader underfoot and the sidewalls are a little bit bigger on the inside and the outside of the Gaviota. So if you're looking for greater stability, a bit more space in the shoe, you might look towards the Gaviota. If you're looking for a slightly lighter shoe with less stability and a little bit narrower on top of the shoe, then the Arahi 8 is an excellent option. If you've got any questions on either shoes, please drop them in the comment section below. We've got links to both shoes if you want to check out the latest price on Amazon. Otherwise, if you found the video helpful, liking, sharing and subscribing does make a massive difference to the channel. Thank you very much for watching.